Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the January 12, 2015 meeting of the Revere City Council. Will everyone please rise and salute the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call of the members. Councilor Rigo?
Here.
Here. Councilor Janino? Here. Here. Councilor Guanasso?
Here.
Here. Councilor Haas?
Here.
Here. Councilor Morabito?
Here.
Here. Councilor Novoselsky is absent. Councilor Patch?
Here.
Here. Councilor Penta is absent. Councilor Reardon?
Here.
Here. Councilor Zambuto?
Here.
Here. And Council President Powers?
Here. Before we begin the meeting, I'd like to mention the fact that Councilor Novoselsky's wife is in the hospital, and that's the reason for him not being here this evening. And we wish her the very best with that. And also, I believe Councilor Penta is not feeling well this evening, and we look to his return here on the 26th of January at our next regular meeting.
Calendar item number 1, communication pertaining to proposed summer work program for seniors.
That'll be placed on file.
Calendar item number 2, communication from the mayor relative to the appointment of Mr. Nick Melanson, 57 Milano Ave, to the Conservation Commission.
That'll go to Appointments Committee.
Calendar item number 3, communication from the mayor relative to a request for a refunding loan order.
That'll be ordered to a public hearing.
Calendar item number 4, motion presented by Councilor Gino, that the mayor request Boston Globe Direct to address the poor and unacceptable delivery practices of the vendors used to deliver the Boston Globe Direct advertisements. Much like litter, the advertisements are blatantly thrown in the street, blocking storm drains as well as in homeowners' landscaping, driveways, sidewalks, or condominium common areas. This motion is being resubmitted as many residents are reporting that they are still unable to cancel the unwarranted free subscription via either phone or email.
Councilor Janino.
Thank you. This is a motion that I brought up around this time last year, and it was brought to my attention recently that it's still an issue. I understand that there are a lot of residents that do like this and that use it. I mean, it has great coupons, and I hope that we can still continue to deliver it to them. However, there are a lot of people that find it as a nuisance, and it's affecting their landscaping, and it's frustrating that they call several times and can't cancel it, and it's almost as if it's forced upon them. And it's more frustrating to me that it's been over a year and it's still not addressed. So it's my hope that we can resolve this issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Janino. Councilor Guanasso.
I concur with my colleague, Councilor Janino. Certainly, it's beneficial to some residents who do use the coupons, and obviously it's a cost factor. But aesthetically, throughout the neighborhoods, the mess it's creating, especially on a couple of these streets, particularly that I represent, one being Temple Street, it seems like they're all over the place on Temple Street. So they just must take it from a moving van and just throw them, and with no regard for the homeowner or the resident within that, or any of us in our community. So I think something ought to be done with this, and I think that they ought to attend to when someone submits their name that they do no longer want it delivered to their property, they should honor that and recognize that. So I think we should put some force into this. Thank you, Councilor.
Thank you, Councilor Guanasso. Councilor Zambuto.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't see how we can't support this motion. This is completely out of control. I never know where I'm going to find mine. It's in the middle of the grass. It's in the bushes. It's just crazy. And I don't know how many people have called me on this, but we certainly need to at least try to get their attention.
Thank you, Councilor Zambuto. I think that's an excellent motion on the part of Councilor Janino. There are, many times myself I see these papers, not just one, but 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 in front of a doorway, and not only is it a nuisance and a blight, but it also sends a message out there to the bad people that maybe those people are on vacation, and this might be a house that they'd want to target for some reason to break in. So on the motion, all in favor? So ordered.
Calendar item number 5, motion presented by Councilor Patch, that the mayor request Donnie Goodwin, a representative from Roseland Properties, and a representative from the Malden Traffic Division to appear before the Public Safety Subcommittee to discuss the installation of a pedestrian traffic signal and crosswalk on Salem Street at the entrance to the Overlook Ridge development.
Councilor Patch.
Thank you, Mr. President. I believe I put a similar motion in a few years ago. I noticed that when I was holding signs there for either for myself or other candidates that it's very dangerous crossing Salem Street. It's like crazy down here, and I've gotten a lot of complaints from the residents. Now I know it's a reach for the Malden representative. I like a representative from the either Malden Traffic or the Malden's Mayor's office, because there's more people in Malden down there that actually use the bus that comes from Boston there, and we could hopefully could work something out between the three. I also would like to amend this, that somebody did approach me and told me that the original agreement that Roseland, it's in their agreement that they provide for this pedestrian signal, or traffic. Actually, would be better to have a traffic signal, because in the morning it gets backed up down there. So that's why I put the motion in.
I think it's an excellent motion, and I'm sure that the city clerk can ask the mayor's office to go through the files and look back at that agreement and be sure that that is in there. Councilor Zambudo?
Thank you, Mr. President. I think this is a terrific motion. We've all seen what a public safety hazard that is up there. Somebody's going to get killed. There's no question about it. And I hate to admit, for the first time I was involved in that original agreement with Roseland, I hate to admit that I don't remember whether that was in there or not, but whether it's in there or not, they should be responsible for it. And I think they'll be willing to cooperate. I'm sure they will. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Zambudo. On the motion, all in favor, so ordered.
Calendar item number 6, motion presented by Councilor Powers, that the mayor request DCR to increase the illumination of the streetlights on the northern end of Revere Beach Boulevard. Due to the dimness of the lighting, there's a public safety hazard for pedestrians crossing the boulevard.
My colleagues, I've had many calls from residents down there regarding this. There are people who use the eastern side of the boulevard to walk. They cross over to the western side of the boulevard, and it's very dark down there. Also, the traffic down there, that creates a problem too. And I think this is something that could be addressed by the DCR and should be addressed. So any of my colleagues want to speak on this? Councilor Ganasso.
Mr. President, it's a good motion based on the fact that I traverse Revere Beach Boulevard quite often in the evening hours, and the illumination there really needs to be upgraded. I agree with the original intent was the aesthetic value of those lamps, and they certainly serve a purpose for beautification. But as far as illumination, they offer no help to either the pedestrian or the person driving the vehicle. I note on many occasions that individuals wearing black clothing and they're crossing the street, you can't see them. And so it's really dangerous, and it's something that should be paid attention to, because there's going to be a fatality down there at some point based on the fact that you just can't see these pedestrians. So I think this is a good motion. I think we should get some movement on this to provide the public safety for our citizens.
Thank you, Councilor Ganasso, and you bring up a good point. In previous years, there have been fatalities down on that boulevard in areas that are very well lit, and This only creates more of a problem when you have the area darkened and people walking down there may have dark clothing on or may not be looking or whatever the case is. So I think this is something that should be done in the interest of public safety. On the motion, all in favor, so ordered.
Calendar item number 7, motion presented by Councilor Haas, that the mayor be requested to provide the following information to the City Council. Will outside water meters, which provide a surcharge savings to residents, continue to be available after the installation of the new water meter system?
Councilor Haas.
Thank you, Mr. President. A number of people have brought this to my attention. They want to make sure that the outside water meter will be issued with the new installation of the new system. This is a direct savings to the taxpayers of the community because the taxpayers are only paying for the water used, not the storage. I don't want to go into it too long, but that's it.
Thank you, Councilor Haas. Councilor Patch.
Thank you, Mr. President. Could I also add to that? In my case, I have 2 meters inside. One for when I put my water sprinkler system in, I connected all my outside to that meter, so I wouldn't get charged for the storage. I did question when this first came up. I questioned Donnie Goodwin, the superintendent, and he doesn't. At the time, they didn't know if it took care of the outside meter system. So I would like to include the people that I know. I'm not the only one in the city that did this. I'm sure there's quite a few that have the meter for the inside water and the meter for the outside. They read I get 2 bills every quarter. So I would like that to find out if that's covered. It's going to be covered.
Thank you, Councilor Patch. Councilor Arrigo.
Thank you, Mr. President. I agree with the motion, and I want to commend Councilor Haas on putting this, pressing this issue, because we've talked about the water meters and the wireless water meters for a few times, and there hasn't been a definitive answer about the outside water meters, and I think that is going to be something of drastic change for a lot of folks, and a lot of folks look at that the outside meter as a savings, and I don't know if the water meter system that we have is going to provide for that savings. And having been through a change in water meters in a different community in a past work experience that I had, I do know that generally they're not going to be able to provide the outside savings. So this is something that people are going to need to have a heads up about, and I think the wireless meters as a whole are going to be an issue that we need to have our communication down pat to make sure that people are informed and know what's going on. I know there is a pilot program going on right now, but this was one question that has been outstanding for a while, and I commend Councilor Haas for pressing for an answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Arrigo. Councilor Reardon.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is more on the lines of a point of information. While we're touching on the issue of water, I want to remind everybody that we have a water summit tentatively planned for the next month, and that I believe I would ask the clerk. I believe the date that we're soliciting questions from the public, and I believe the final date to get your question in is the 21st. Am I incorrect about that, Madam Clerk? So anybody out there who has a question about what's going on with our water system and directing their particular attention to our consent agreement should go on the City of Revere website, or in some way, shape, or form deliver their question to the clerk's office. There is a special email address, I believe, at the website, which is watersummit@revere.org. You can direct your questions. And perhaps this question can be something that could be addressed at the same time, if not sooner. But I want everybody to know this is your opportunity to to get your question, and we all have a lot of questions about it, and we'd like to get some meaningful answers at this summit. so everybody can have a heads up about what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Reardon. Council Vice President Zambudo.
Thank you, Mr. President. We've got this wonderful system coming in here, this wireless system, very expensive. And I'm just hoping that the technology is going to allow some sort of a wire to this outside media or some way of actually doing it. I'm not confident of that, but I would think with this kind of an expense, there should be a way to accommodate, because a lot of people, and especially seniors, use their outside meter to water their grass and water their tomato plants, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, we all know that a lot of people here have gardens, and they use a lot of water. And if they have to pay the sewage for that, it's going to be a real hardship. So I hope we can find a way to accommodate, and I guess my colleague, Councilor Reardon, said it. The time is at the summit to get all these questions on the table. But I am very hopeful that we can find a way to accommodate our citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Zambudo. I'm sure we will. I think this is definitely a must. Most of our senior citizens in the city that use outside water are living on fixed incomes. They're budgeting every year after year, and as we all know, the expenses go up. For the most part, the monies coming in remain the same. So I think this is very important. I think it's an excellent motion on behalf of Councilor Patch. On the motion, all in favor, so ordered.
Late motion presented by Councilor Reardon that the Traffic Commission consider at its next meeting the removal of the northernmost parking space and meter on the even side of the intersection of Prospect Avenue and Broadway. Vehicles parked in the space impede the northerly view of motorists entering the intersection from Prospect Ave, making their entry onto Broadway unnecessarily hazardous. Included in this request is the placement of a sign indicating no parking here to corner at the appropriate spot at the beginning of the next space.
Councilor.
Thank you. Very briefly, Mr. President, I was asked by some residents of Prospect Avenue, especially in the morning coming down that hill, that parking space abuts almost exactly on the corner. It's so close to that corner that people coming down there looking back up Broadway can't see traffic, oncoming traffic. So they have to inch out, and it holds things up terribly sometimes in the morning there. So I'm hoping that this issue, as well as other kind of similar issues in this neighborhood anyway, will be addressed when we have a little more parking due to the elimination of the old police station. But if we can address this, this would be helpful to those residents on the hill. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Reardon. I see the chief up here. You're up here on an issue. Would you care to come up to the podium? I believe this is for a waiver for an employee that will be coming. It's worked here before, too, also, correct? Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you. You're hearing me on short notice. We're looking to hire a shift supervisor for the regional dispatch. She'll be working as a assistant to the present director of the regional dispatch. Her name is Ms. Adrienne Javery. She's a former employee here of the city. She started her career with the police department many years ago as a call taker. She's moved on, cultivated her base of knowledge and experience in several other communities. And after several interviews, we would like to hire her on as shift supervisor for our regional dispatch. She has expressed her intention to move back to the city upon receiving this job.
Councilors. Councilor Rigo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a quick question, Chief. I know in your communication it says that she'll only be considered a city employee for a short period of time. Could we have an end date or a temporary waiver, or is that something that, like, could there be an end date to the waiver?
There certainly could be. The reason it's a temporary position is because when the dispatch does open up on a region, she'll be an employee under that entity, and it'll be regional. Obviously, we won't be able to restrict it to residents only at that point.
Okay. Would 6 months be enough as a temporary?
I hope so.
Is there a date that would be okay?
I
Or
hazard to give you a date because every time I do, it changes.
okay,
Hopefully 6 months will do it. I hope to God 6 months will do it.
a year, Mr. President.
I think a year would be plenty.
A year.
That's
Okay.
reasonable.
If I may make a suggestion, Mr. President, why don't we key it into the opening of the establishment of the new entity whenever it gets us within a month after the establishment of the new entity? Would that be in your, Councilor Arrigo, would that be in your?
Mr. Councilor Redden, that would satisfy my intention.
Mr. President,
Councilor Ganasso.
being chair of the appointment subcommittee, and whereas Adrian has been a former employee of the community with a background known to all of us mostly, I would have no objection if this were voted on tonight instead of sending it to appointment subcommittee.
I'm going to ask that this be voted on tonight. Definitely. Councilor Zambudo.
I think there's got to be a time that we address this residency situation. I think the time has come soon, and then perhaps we won't be doing this anymore. But this is a very qualified candidate. They need her right now. I think the appointments chair was gracious enough to say I'll vote on this tonight. I think that you are gracious enough, and we should move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Zamboto. And I think the fact that the chief is up here this evening recommending this, that says an awful lot, and that's reason very paramount to vote on this evening. Call the roll, please, Madam Clerk.
Shall the City Council approve the residency waiver for Adrian Javery in accordance with Section 2.06.060 of the revised ordinances of the City of Revere? Councilor Arrigo?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Gino?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Guanasso?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Haas? Yes. Yes. Councilor Morabito?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Novoselsky is absent. Councilor Patch?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Penta is absent. Councilor Reardon?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Zambudo?
Yes.
Yes. And Council President Powers?
Yes.
Yes, the residency waiver has been granted.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief.
There's a late communication from the Election Commissioner relative to setting the preliminary election for Tuesday, September 1st, 2015.
Yes, I spoke with the Election Commissioner over I think last Friday, and the reason for this is there are two Jewish holidays, religious holidays, on the subsequent Tuesdays, both of them, and this probably is the best way to handle this. We don't want to, somebody had talked about changing the date to a Wednesday, and I think that would be very confusing to people, so we're going to go, as far as I'm concerned, with the first, and we'll ask for a vote on this right now, Madam Clerk. No. Placed on file. Yes, Madam Clerk, I'm going to read the committee assignments now for 2015, the subcommittees. The Appointments and Personnel Administration Subcommittee, Councilor Ganasso, Chairman, Councilor Giannino, Councilor Morabito, Councilor Patch, and Councilor Reardon are members. Economic Development and Planning Committee, Councilor Haas, Chairman, Councilor Arrigo, Councilor Ganasso, Councilor Novoselsky, Councilor Penta, and Councilor Zambudo are members. Public Works Subcommittee, Councilor Penta, Chairman, Councilor Ganasso, Councilor Novoselsky, Councilor Patch, and Councilor Reardon, the ward councilors, are members. Elder Affairs Committee, Councilor Morabito, Chairman, Councilor Arrigo, Councilor Giannino, Councilor Haas, and Councilor Patch are members. Veterans Affairs Committee, Councilor Novoselsky, Chairman, Councilor Giannino, Councilor Haas, Councilor Morabito, Councilor Patch are members. Ways and Means Subcommittee, Councilor Arrigo, Chairman, Councilor Haas, Councilor Ganasso, Councilor Morabito, Councilor Reardon, and Councilor Zambudo are members. Youth, Parks and Recreation Committee, Councilor Giannino, Chairwoman, Councilor Arrigo, Councilor Haas, Councilor Morabito, and Councilor Patch are members. Zoning Subcommittee, Councilor Reardon, Chairman, Councilor Ganasso, Councilor Novoselsky, Councilor Penta, and Councilor Zambudo are members. Legislative Affairs Committee, Council Vice President Zambudo is Chairman, Councilor Morabito, Councilor Patch, Councilor Penter, and Councilor Reardon are members. Public Safety Subcommittee, Councilor Patch, Chairman, Councilor Giannino, Councilor Ganasso, Councilor Penter, and Councilor Zambudo are members. And those are the subcommittees for 2015. Is there any further business before us? Motion to adjourn. This city council will stand adjourned until January 26, 2015 at 6 p.m. Thank you all for your presence.